Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast. And today we got our youth report. And I always with me, my buddy Mitch Thomas. And today we got coming in our Game 7 guru, Dave Penning. Mr. Penning, how's it going, bud?
Good morning to you, gentlemen. It's going great.
And as always, YBMcast is powered by Game 7 Baseball. Game7baseball.com. How'd you like that? That's my best radio voice.
The radio face to match.
Did you like that one, Dave?
That's right. Loved it.
I don't think he heard me, which is good.
Oh no, that's what I was actually laughing about. It's perfect.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, but hey, we got Dave on. We got opening weekend in the books out at Edwardsville, Illinois, at Plummer Family Park. The Shamrock Shootout. Dave, how'd it go out there, bud?
Went extremely well. It was a soft opening for us here in Missouri and Illinois by design. It helps when you have a great facility like Plummer Park out there, because lo and behold, Mother Nature, she wasn't too cooperating with us, I'll say. At the beginning on Saturday morning was a little dicey for baseball weather, but when you're on turf, Dave and I were driving over there, and we're like, oh, the weather said it's supposed to stop at 9 o'clock, right around first pitch. So we continued to proceed on, and lo and behold, they were right. A little chilly, but it was great. And then Sunday was an absolutely gorgeous day. So it went well.
That's outstanding. I love to hear that. We got some champions to talk about. I love that. How was the baseball first weekend out? Did you see some ups and downs out there?
I was impressed, right out of the box. It's a 4-field complex. So Dave and I both were there and actually got to walk around and visibly see some games for a change instead of being down in the computer with our noses in it. But I was really impressed, Brian and Mitch, with the way the catchers, especially in the 11 and 12U division, the way that they were throwing out runners at second base. I mean, that's a tribute to off-season practice indoors and all that, but I was really, and so were my umpires. They were impressed. They're like, man, these guys are gunning out runners left and right over here, and sure were. So if you're out there, coaches, take note of that. The catchers have been working in the off-season for sure.
Yeah, it seems like it. I've seen a little bit of growth in that too recently. Obviously, being owner of a facility, we see a lot of catchers coming in, and there's just a lot of requests for catching coaches outside of just the facility managed practices and stuff like that. So as a former catcher, that is awesome to hear and see. It's nice.
Yeah. And especially the younger divisions, a walk or a base hit automatically turns into a double, or some case triples. Not so much the case anymore. I witnessed that too. It was like Mitch said, it was an eye opener.
Wow. I'm glad to hear that. That's development. We've been talking about development through the off season and what that takes. So that's great to hear. I love to see that it's happening on the field too.
Yeah, it seems like that's a position that sometimes gets lost in training too, because of the limited space and things like that. It doesn't seem like that catchers get a lot of love. We have seen growth because of our pitching classes. We have had our catchers coming in working with pitchers, so they're getting a lot of opportunities to work, block and stuff like that. And you're just seeing some growth that I think in the last few years we kind of forgot about how important that position is to a team.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Okay, let's do it. 10U division. The Illinois Gators over there, Coach Schrader, took the championship. They looked pretty good all weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they did go undefeated. You can tell by the scores there. They were had a great, successful weekend. That whole division had a team from NBA wildcard or come down from the Illinois area. They had a great showing. So for the most part, that division was really fun to watch as well.
Yeah, Midwest Rebels took they were the runners up there. Coach Trout. And it does. I mean, the Illinois Gators, they've had a pretty good program over there. They're starting to build up over there. I'm looking forward to seeing them a little bit more as they continue to grow. So then we got 11U. local team there from Illinois, the O'Fallon Bombers. They went 3-0 in pool play and then took the championship game. But I love this score, 1-0 in the championship game.
An absolute dandy, Brian, right out of the box. So 1-0. Yeah, I mean, they met earlier in pool play, and the Bombers got the best of them. And I think the prospects were looking for that revenge, and it was a phenomenal game. And I alluded to the fact about catching. I just so happened to walk by and catch the tail end of that ball game, hence the final 1-0. But the prospects scratched the runner out, got him on first base, and there were 2 outs. And I just watched it. The runner had a great jump, fast kid. It took a absolute perfect throw from the catcher, which it was. Lo and behold, he put the ball down right there on the bag, and the runner was thrown out at second to end the game. But, man, it took a perfect throw.
1-0, 11U baseball. That had to be a gem to watch just because of the fun. And I'm sure that's the first time they've had the butterflies late in the game, worried about making mistakes. And coaches are probably just anxiety on high levels. That had to be a fun game to watch, because nobody wanted to be that guy to make that mistake or whatever, coaching make a mistake on, maybe a substitution. That's had to be fun at 11U. Had to be. I mean, it's fun in general, right? I mean, at the high school level, youth level, but 11U, that's got to be fun.
It was great to see. I think both teams had played a tournament, but that was the first for Game 7. It was good to see coming right out of the box at the first weekend.
I love that. Yep. Both teams, big kudos to the O'Fallon Bombers champions and the prospects. Coach, I think that's pronounced Lenich or Lennick. And kudos. Great weekend for those guys. Congrats, fellas. Congrats. 12U had a good pool there. 10 teams in that one. That's a good tournament. And I mean, Edwardsville Tigers, Recruits Baseball, U.S. Nationals, St. Louis Grind, the Naturals, Gas House, Mo Diamond Kings. That was a good field, Dave.
Yeah, before we get into the winners, there are, in this case, the co-champs. I'd like to extend and point out that it's not always about winning. And we had 2 11U teams jump up to play in this 12U division, which you can see it was no slouches in there. It was a great division. And Coach Manning and Jersinovic, I think that's how Jeff, I'll just call him Coach Jeff, took the challenge right out of the box to move up to play in the 12U division. And I just wanted to recognize them and tell them, hey, thanks for doing that. And, it's not always about winning. So I wanted to this is what this show is all about. I wanted to recognize them and their efforts this weekend because both teams fared really well.
That's awesome to be this early and already wanting to challenge your group of young men. That is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I love that. And appreciate that, Dave, because the 11U Naturals, they went 1-1 in pool play. I mean,
yeah, I'd like to see more of it. I mean, those guys, they talked, and I even picked up the phone and, we like communication here. We talked to them and said, hey, you sure you guys? And they were like, no, absolutely not. We want to stay in the 12. So caps off to those guys, those clubs.
Dang, baby, right out the box. I love it.
Out the gate. Here we go.
That makes for a good tournament, I think. And, great opening weekend there. We do have some co-champs. And when I saw that, I didn't know if the game doesn't usually end in a tie. So I was curious about what that circumstance, how that led to that. Can you elaborate there, Dave?
Unique situation. In this case, it was 2 teams from the same club going at it, and a great ball game. And kind of sitting there with Dave, that was the final game of the event, of the actual weekend. So it was all focused down to that one field. And we saw it kind of coming down the pike. I think it was a 2-run lead going into the bottom of the 6th. So I summoned my umpires over. I said, hey, this is what's going to happen. And the one umpire said, no, before the game, just by, I don't know if it's divine intervention or what have you want to call it, they said, if there's a case to where this ball game is going to end in a tie, we want to leave it as such. And I was like, wait a minute. So I checked with both coaches to confirm it. They were good with it. So lo and behold, that's what it ended up. The final score was a tie. So.
Well,
I
it's
don't
youth
think
baseball.
It was conveyed to the parents as such because as the game was called, there was an uproar in the crowd, but however, they calmed down really quick.
Well, I'm sure the coaches went out and said, look, hey, this is what we decided. And you know what? Okay, that's fair enough. Your thoughts?
I'm a competitor, and as a coach, if it's I coach the same age group as our 14U Jason Nicodime's team. If that was ever a situation, I would really want to play that out and see who actually took the W. I get it, but at the end of the day, I like to compete, and I'm playing that game out.
Schools of thought. And that's what they decided. And here's the thing, that's what you want to do. Great.
And I don't know the pitching situation. It could have been that those guys said, it's a large division. There's several teams in it, so they obviously had to use several pieces of pitching. Was a couple of guys banged up.
Good point.
Those are things that you don't know on the surface. I'm saying I want to compete.
Right,
if we both had gone in there and say, look, dude, we're exhausted. We only have really one arm left or whatever. And maybe that's their number 5 or 6 or wherever they're at. And maybe that both teams agree that that's where they're standing. And so you don't really know. But again, as a surface question and answer,
right.
I want to play that game out.
I love that thought though. Because it could have been that. Could have been and early in the season, do we want to wear out a bunch of arms? Does it? And so the factors, I think that's a great point. Great point. But it ended up with co-champs. Congrats to RBC Prime and 12U recruits. Good job. Good weekend, guys. They had finished out in pool play at 1 and 2. They were both 2 and 0. So, great job for that. The RBC recruits showed very well there in that tournament. They really did. All right, let's get on to, we got Arch Madness coming up. Let's look at next week. It's a great opening weekend. We may have a little weather to deal with. We'll see. Everybody go outside and blow the wind, eastward.
Well, it's blowing right now, that's for sure. I was all over the highway in the pickup truck coming in here.
Let's blow it out east, right?
Going somewhere.
Well, one positive thing on that, it doesn't start until Saturday and Sunday, so I think we should be fine.
I think so too.
The other man's right. I think it's today and tomorrow is what we have to deal with, and like you said, that wind's going to help. So
yeah,
I think we'll be fine.
I think it'll be good. So you got a great field here with this coming up tournament, Arch Madness. It's always one of the big ones as far as it's you got 56 teams coming out, and of course the brackets will be out tomorrow afternoon, Dave, Wednesday.
Correct. Or possibly late tonight, but I would to be a safe assumption, Wednesday tomorrow afternoon.
And you got, I'm going to kick it off here with my big dog because he's going to be in this 14U division there, the double A division. You got a pretty good field here, bro.
Yeah, I was looking at some of those teams. I'm like, hey, here we go right off the bat to the first weekend. And we had we went live last night and we pumped a lot of strikes, which I was happy about. I think our hitting's going to be behind. So we haven't got much dirt work. I think I did a little bit of disservice to the group. This is a professional side of things, but with high school ball just kind of recently starting, yeah. I kind of put on the back burner the importance of getting outside. I'm just kind of throwing these guys to the wolves this first weekend, and I'm like, man, here we go. I guess we're gonna see, but I think we're prepared. Seeing that, I think we're gonna be competitive with the group, and I'm excited to see. We do have a good group of young men that pitch. And catch, because we put a lot of work in those two things this off season. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see where we fit in and who we go up against, because some of those teams use the facility, and so we get to see a couple of those groups in there. So yeah. I kind of got an idea where they're at. So little scouting report.
Dave, tell us a little bit about your field here. You got some.
What are you saying, Mitch? You got a little inside information there, huh?
Well, I paid attention. I'm like, all right, this kid cannot hit this pitch. That's where we're throwing that kid. I'm like, yep. Just got to relay that message. I let my kids play the game. So I don't do the pitch calling routine. The first and thirds, we're going to execute, just one or two of those kinds of plays. And we're going to try to keep it as simple as we can early on.
You got some really good divisions here this weekend, Dave. Your 8 through 13U is sold out. Looks like really going to be a good weekend. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to, the 8Us. That's always fun to watch them little guys get out and get after it, and see the parents as well. They get all into it because a lot of times it's their first go around with their first sibling. You could tell the ones who have been through the tournament scene and have older boys that have run through it, they're a little bit more calm, I guess you would say, as to the newbies out there. You can always tell which one they are, but it's a good time.
They're the parents that sit out in like right field and left field, right? They just hang out way down the line and just stay out of the way of the stands. Yeah, they don't sit behind home plate anymore, right?
They're in their bed of their truck. Yeah, going. Yeah, that's a great play.
Do they?
One's on the fence.
Yeah, this 8U's machine pitch, correct?
That is correct. Machine pitch.
Yeah. And you got 9U AA, 11U AA, 12U AA, and AAA. 13U is both AA and AAA, and then 14U AA. So we're looking forward to a good weekend. We're going to be out there, Youth Baseball Midwest. We got what venues? It's Ozzy's and Chesterfield, correct?
Yeah, Ozzy's and Chesterfield this weekend, correct.
Okay. And this year we're bringing it back. Dave and I, we've been talking. We had this all set for 2022 or 2020. We won't get into all that mess. But we're bringing it back this year. We've got our 2022 Top Award coming back. And Dave, go ahead. I think this is a fun thing. I really enjoy recognizing some of these players, right?
Yeah, we partnered up once again with you, Brian, and YBM, and to give away some nice awards and put a nice little wrinkle on things. We picked 7 events, and so therefore it's going to be 7 individuals in the 14U division that have a chance to compete at, when it's all said and done, the 7 contestants, if you will, or the guys who we nominate will be eligible for a year-end scholarship. That's monetary scholarship to be used at their college or school of choice. So we're working on sponsorship. We're getting that pot built up for a really nice award at the end of the year.
Absolutely. And I appreciate, we talked about this a couple of years ago and we got derailed a little bit, but this is what we always talked about as far as giving back into the community. And Dave have always been great. It's our Super 7 scholarship. And Game 7 baseball's always has been in the community now. Geez, when did you guys start, Dave?
Oh. I didn't have all this. This was a nice color, and that's gray.
Exactly.
23 years ago with my my dad and my brothers back in the old days of Super Series. So.
Exactly.
It's always been Game 7?
No,
sir. The Game 7 brand has been around for 12 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he started with, like you said, with his dad and his brother with Super Series. And that's when I first met the Pennings. Yeah. And, we've had off and on. And that's when I started umpiring for you guys back in the day. And then when we did this back in 2017, we started with the World Series. And it's just kind of grown. And we're having fun. I enjoy this. I think it's a great opportunity. As we say, we're in the community, we're giving back. And this gives one more layer on the cake, so to speak, right, Dave?
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that you bring that up because I can recall your team going at it against my partner now, the Mr. Schmidt's team. You had some doozy battles.
Back in the day, man, it was Mr. Schmidt had the Wildcats. We had the Tigers. That was SPAA back in the day, bro.
All right.
Yes, we had some battles. Dave Schmidt's team, it was good. We had a good little team. We put up. They got us. We got them. I think he might have got us one more time than we got him, though. That was the bummer.
So what you're saying is you need a rekindle this thing on the field and have all these 23-year-old somethings get after it again?
Oh, geez. I don't know if we could find them all. I got one over there.
Well, we got one. I'm sure we could find them. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. There's a lot. There's enough. That actually would be fun.
Wouldn't it be? It might be fun, if you could find them all. They haven't all moved away and stuff.
I just wonder how many of them can throw a baseball still.
Oh, I can't.
Probably have to revert to like a beer league softball game or something.
Float it.
Exactly. Oh, mercy. But successful first weekend. Looking forward to this. We're going to be out there with the tent. I'm going to be doing some live stuff with Dave, and Dave will be doing some live stuff. We're going to hopefully have Shane Eames out with his Premier Hitting Development, doing some demonstrations, talking some baseball. We got some great stuff lined up for this year when we're out at these tournaments. We're looking forward to having Dave come on our Tuesday show, talking youth baseball and just having some fun.
One thing I did want to point out before we leave here, guys, is Jody in Tennessee has a monster this weekend. It's 135 teams. So hopefully Mother Nature cooperates with her in Middle Tennessee so she can get that all in conclusion there. That's 135 teams. And you know what happens when Mother Nature comes in. It's already hard enough to schedule it. So praying for good weather for her there as well.
Absolutely, man.
That's awesome. I did look. We were looking to maybe travel a little bit further than Branson. I just didn't feel like our group was ready for that just yet. And we had looked at that tournament, and I looked at that, and I was like, man, that thing has got a lot of teams. It's just cool to see just a bunch of little kids playing a sport that I love so dearly, and that obviously we all love. It's just neat to see kids running around the park playing games, and when they have big tournaments like that, it's just. You see just mingling everywhere, Obviously, you see the local teams know each other, but it's just cool. But good luck to her, right?
Yeah.
135 teams with a lot of rain in the area. Great. They got that red clay. They got that red clay down there, so I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you can play on that stuff.
Yeah. All right, Dave, thanks, man. Appreciate it. As always, we're looking forward to being out there. Dave Penning, folks, Game7Baseball.com. If you're still looking for a tournament, get in there. Game7Baseball.com. Register your team. I'm sure there's still some openings left here and there. Got the big the big enchilada, the World Series in July. Going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one's getting close. That one, a lot of divisions are sold out, so we're about ready to shut her down.
There you go. So jump in there quick if you're looking, guys. Everybody, have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. And you hitters,
hit them where they ain't.
Doubles and dingers, baby. That's what you got to say, bro. Doubles and dingers. That's your stick.
Yeah, but I'd just leave that to you.
We'll see you next time.